Have you noticed that CES has become more of an EV show than just a tech show? But what if you could find the most unique and out-of-the-box tech, but in a compelling EV that's already on the roads right now? So one of the best parts about coming to CES is seeing all the new cars from all around the world. But this is not a car, this is a smart device. Let's take a look. Today I'm going to take you inside a Turkish car maker's latest EV, the T10F Fastback. But they don't even call it an EV, they call it a smart device. We'll get an inside look, check out the impressive specs, and even chat with its CEO. So strap in and let's get started. Last year, Turkey launched its first car to compete globally in over 60 years, and it was an EV. I'm talking about Togg, and this was their T10X SUV, and it was such a big hit that it had almost 200,000 pre-orders in just the first 12 days, and 20,000 of those have already been delivered. At CES this year, Togg unveiled its latest EV, the T10F, coming later this year. Let's take a look, starting with the front of the T10F. So right away, you can see that it does have a grille. But what's interesting about this is representative of Turkey. These are actually a tulip design that you'll also find inside the smart device. But what I love most about this is these beautiful boomerang-shaped daytime running lights. You also find them on the doors of the car. Look at this, no mirrors. There's no rear view mirrors. They're actually able to do this in Turkey. You'll see that they have the digital cameras, which I love. That's something that so many vehicles in the US have been trying to do for so long, and they just haven't been able to do that. The charger is located up front on the passenger side. Now it is CCS, but again, this smart device is in Turkey and it's headed to Europe. So it doesn't have plans at the moment for the US. So they're definitely doing a lot of things right. They actually check off a lot of boxes. They have their own charging network across Turkey. They have impressive range, and they actually remind me a lot of Tesla in its early days. They're really trying to transform the whole mobility sector as a tech company, which is why they don't even call their EV a car, but a smart device. I was lucky enough to get a first-hand look at their new Fastback at CES. The T10F comes in 3 variants, with the top spec being a dual motor all-wheel drive that will net you around 600 kilometers of range. That's around 373 miles based on internal testing. Of course, the digital mirrors and flush door handles also help the T10F achieve an incredibly low drag coefficient of 0.23. Identical to what you'll find in a Tesla Model 3. This top spec has an 88 kilowatt hour battery with dual motors outputting 320 kilowatts of power. The 0 to 100 kph is around 4.6 seconds, with a starting price similar to the currently available SUV, which is around 49,000 US dollars or 45,000 euros. But it's really the integration of its software on the inside that stands out. So right away, you have this sense of technology loaded with all kinds of unique digital features. There's actually 2 separate screens right here. There's one right in front of the driver, and then the whole thing pans across, and it's actually 29 inches. And then we also have a separate infotainment screen as well. The interior is designed to kind of evoke the idea of a third living space, kind of like your home or your workspace. Check it out, my side mirrors are digital. They're built into the door of the smart device. It definitely feels very premium or advanced. In fact, the 41-inch end-to-end screen is also powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. There's high-speed mobile Wi-Fi built in as well, but really central to the ownership experience is what Togg calls its TrueMore ecosystem of personalized experiences. For example, they had the T10X on display, the Togg that's currently on the roads in Turkey. Check this out. When I get inside, it does facial recognition. It's supposed to measure my stress levels by looking at my blood pressure, my heart rate, and then it's going to be able to calm me down. I'm really not sure what to expect, but I definitely think it is a really cool idea, and I can't wait to try it out.
You can measure your heart rate, your stress level, and your blood pressure.
First off, I have to say that it is so cool. I love this. I really love being able to have all these different mirrors in here. But I don't have too much time, so let's do what we're supposed to do. Wow, look at this. It actually sees right near. My stress is only mild. I don't know how accurate that is.
Now, pick one of the special
That's crazy. So it's using this camera.
Your well-being and mood.
In this example, you'll see that through reading your vitals, the T10X actually modifies everything from your instrument cluster theme to your music options, using AI to best reflect your mood and your needs. It's kind of like a weird ASMR experience, to be honest with you. I do feel something happening. Actually, I do feel really relaxed. So you can even import images or create your own digital artwork to appear inside the cabin as you enter. But again, this is very outside of the box thinking by Togg. So you get this beautiful EV with the features and the specs that you want, but they also focus on the ecosystem around this tech and gamify the entire process.
And we also have AI crafted magnets, so the more you travel and drive, the more magnets you collect. So your car will take little snapshots along your journey, and then it'll save it almost like an NFT for you.
All right, so your first thoughts when you're exposed to all this might be like, it's so different. Is this some kind of gimmick? But the more you understand what Togg is trying to do, the more it really starts to just make sense. It's sort of like what Tesla's tried to do with all the gaming, the toy box, the sound effects, but Togg has really taken it a step further. For example, every Togg that you order has its own unique carbon passport based on your configuration. And you can actually collect carbon points based on if you're charging off of renewable energy or you're making your drive more efficient, and you can actually convert those into free charging or even shopping credits. Why do we refer to it as a smart device versus a car? What is the difference?
From day one on, we understood first, the world is not waiting for the next automotive manufacturer, neither the next electric vehicle manufacturer, so there are enough. Second, the technological developments are changing so fast that the users, the potential customers, are shifting their expectations. If the technology is not progressing, if the connectivity is not helping, if the experiences we normally have in our living rooms and offices, in our living spaces, are not moving into the smart device. If you want to design something as a smart device, you have to literally design on a blank sheet as a consumer electronics good. And this is the difference, this is the change compared to the classical automotive manufacturers.
This approach to modernizing the EV ownership experience with a vehicle that is far more forward-thinking seems to have resonated with the Turkish population. The country, who over 50% of its population is under the age of 31, the youngest population in all of Europe, has embraced Togg. The smart devices have actually been delivered to real customers in Turkey, eh?
Close to 20,000 on the roads already. Turkey became the 8th largest EV market in Europe, and shows also on one side the proof that we are doing something good, or at least not doing wrong.
Yeah.
Or also better than the others, because we are the #1 EV leader in the market, and this gives us of course the power, the courage to move to the next markets.
Given their success at home, Togg plans to expand to other European markets by the end of this year.
Having discussions in our team, where do we go next outside of Europe, because there is potential to grow. So one of the biggest markets is either Asia or US. So Asia is already overcrowded, and let's see what happens to the US market.
I would love to have it here. Both of them are beautiful vehicles. You also have a charging network with them. Has that been deployed yet, and how is that going?
We are investing some 3.5 billion euros. If the charging infrastructure is not coming up fast enough, then we are endangering maybe our investment. So we started to build our own daughter company, Trugo. And by the way, Trugo is supplying 100% renewable energy. So this 100% renewable energy is something unique in Turkey on one side, and on the other side, Turkey is one of the highest in renewable energy mix in Europe, is 5th in Europe. We are also helping our country in the energy transition. So far we have 505 already installed, 180 and 300 kilowatt hours charging stations. Target is to have 1,000, and this 1,000 enables us to move from Turkey left to right and north to south several times without any hesitation.
So it's clear to me that Togg has figured out all the important benchmarks, from charging stations to range to bidirectional charging, and they even expect to get a 5-star Euro NCAP rating.
They went from a product to a company, right? As soon as you have a second product, so a lineup essentially, you become an automotive company, and that's what they became today. Every time a new Jenny on a block comes around with a new car, you go like, oh, but they're really going to make it. But because they've already made 20,000 of their first model and it's on the road and the factory is cranking it out, you can pretty much bet that this one is going to be on the road as well. So I think I'm more excited about the fact that what we saw today is actually going to exist. Because you and I have been around enough times, enough years to know that just because they've shown us a new pretty little thing doesn't mean that it's actually going to be a car on the road.
Look who I ran into. It's Kim Java.
Hi. And they plan to spread to Europe over this next year. They don't have big plans right now of coming to the US.
I was going to ask that,
Yeah, but it's still an impressive brand, and I think that it's important to follow what's going on around the entire world.
Absolutely.
So many cars just look like the same thing. I think that's why a lot of people, love or hate Cybertruck, is because it's different. Well, TOG is doing all kinds of stuff that is completely out of the box. Sometimes it's hard to conceptualize it all, but at least they're trying, and I have to respect that.
And if you noticed, they're doing their PR in reverse. We usually used to seeing a car and maybe it will make it to the market. You mentioned Cybertruck, it took 4 years for it to make it to the market. Not quite what they expect, and it's not, I'm not picking on a Cybertruck as much as I love to, but this is a good example of actually us consistently going, wow, and you go like, they're doing it the other way around. They actually do their stuff first and then they tell us about it, right? They produce 20,000 cars. They're not even bragging about it, even though I think they should, right?
And they had a lot of reservations within the first 12 days. It was 177,000 reservations and a lot of pre-orders for it.
Yes, and another thing that I don't even think he mentioned during the presentation, but I saw it. Do you know that their app has over 1 million registered users? That is your sales funnel.
So it kind of comes back to living in the US. We have this perspective that we are the world and nothing else is happening around us. But in reality, that is kind of furthest thing from the truth. We're seeing a lot of big companies now come out. BYD now is, the leader in EV sales. And I think TOG really has a lot to offer. They're definitely one to watch. The tech is really outside of the box. So at first, when I heard about some of the things they were trying to do, I was like, how is this possible? How is this going to translate? But then at CES, when I was inside of their booth and they kind of tried to display this whole TrueMore ecosystem, it really started to make sense how this AI could fit into your life. They don't call it a car, they call it a smart device, and you see why. And it's so different than anything I have seen with car makers here in the US, what they're trying to do. I'm curious how this is going to be adopted as they go to Europe this next year and start delivering. So all of this sounds really great. It's really interesting. But then again, I still need to know, how does it drive? I haven't had a chance to take it on the road. I need to obviously go to Turkey and test it out, maybe go to Europe. But let me know what you guys think about this. Are you interested in this kind of tech? What do you think about all the AI that is headed to vehicles this next year? Are you excited about it, or does it scare you? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you guys so much for watching and coming on this journey with us. See you next time.